You know, when you talk to young people, young children, and you ask them what their dreams are, they don't hesitate in telling you. But often life happens and a lot of us become products of our environment. But who you really are never goes away. And if you need to change your environment, then that's what you need to do. And if you need to change your circumstance, that's what you need to do. In order to get confidence, I guess, as young lads, we would somehow manage to get a carry out. And very quickly it became every week we would be drunk. And it was like this real feeling of belonging because I was drinking along with the adults. Because drinking was just considered a normal thing to do in working class Scottish family. By 15, the inevitable happened really with the constant drinking, and on the street came the fighting and the violence. I had friends who were skinheads and all, who had less money and so would drink less but would fight more. And then I had a set of friends who I'd went to school with, who were all working like myself and had more money and so would drink more. At 17, I was drinking so much that the lows were really severe. I sort of spiraled into a bit of depression. I had no sense of purpose. I tried to commit suicide. I just felt hopeless and helpless. That was the first flag, if you like, that alcohol was becoming a problem. I ended up at 18 on the street. I was on the street for about 3 months, which was difficult. I fell into a habit of smoking cannabis all the time, mixed with alcohol. It didn't have that calming effect that it has with some. It actually often sent me into a bit of a rage. At that time I discovered that if I did it in my nose, it was like quicker. And so I tried speed and cocaine. Drinking in the weekend, what you would consider normal, people might drink in a month. I fled Scotland on the run. I was facing a prison sentence. I went to live in Belfast, where the culture was very similar, just a drinking culture, so I fitted in very, very quickly. It was there that I got involved in organised crime. It was a really dark time in Northern Ireland, and for a lot of the months in 1993, there were more people killed in the month than there were days. Tit-for-tat killings, and at one time the city centre was completely empty at night. No one would go out. I became a monster when I got involved in this, and I got involved at quite a high level. We never knew how to be men. No one told us how to be a man. And I grew up with an unwritten code, which was the big man, the real man, the hard man, was the man who could drink the most, who could bed the most women, and who could hit the hardest. And as we went around broken hearts, we broke our own heart as well. And so alcohol became an escape for that as well. I think as a man, weakness is probably the hardest thing to admit. You know, I think to be able to hold your hand up and say, I've got it wrong. To be quiet when you've got something to say, I think that takes more strength than anything. You know, I remember sat on my living room floor with my back to the sofa, with a vodka to my right and a cigarette to my left. And I'd done that for years, but I remember sitting on the floor feeling so helpless and so hopeless and thinking, whatever happened to that person? What happened to you? Where have you gone? At the same time that was happening, John Edwards was walking from the north of Ireland to the south of Ireland carrying his cross. And he said he was praying for paramilitaries and he was praying for all these people in Northern Ireland that they would get saved. And I remember actually commenting and saying, what is that wee daft Irishman doing? What difference does he think that he can make in this country the way it is? John's experience speaks for itself. With, you know, a couple of decades on the street, all the stuff that he's taken himself, it's a miracle he's alive today. But his empathy and his ability to understand where you're at because he's been there, I think is priceless. He isn't going to judge you because he's been there. He has no other motive than to get the addict free. I soon realised that I'd actually been drinking because I didn't like myself and I didn't like who I was, and I wanted to change. I'd never heard there was any other way to be near God other than to be good, because I was bad. And to be honest, I didn't believe it, but I thought, I've actually got nothing to lose here. And so when I hung up the phone, I prayed really. And I says to God, if only you'll forgive me, I'll try again. Overnight, really, the desire for alcohol left me. I just felt clean afterwards. I was euphoric. Every high, every rush, every hit I'd ever had, it was just multiplied so many times. 16 years after he'd prayed for me, I was born again and standing on the platform alongside the man that had prayed for me without even knowing me. And now we're close friends, because when help wasn't always there for him, he knows what that's like. So you need to break free and walk free from where you're at so you can make a difference. Because even now you may think you can't make a difference. But John was there and I was there, and we can all make a difference. And so, can you trust this wee, wiry Irishman? Well, I do. Because I'm living proof that all those years later, there I was set free. So, praise God for that.